Hi, my name's Henry and I'm a certified veterinary technician here at Pearl Animal Hospital. And today I want to talk to you guys about something that we're getting pretty excited about here, but is an extremely anxious and fearful time for our pets, and that's the 4th of July. For us, with the barbecues and the fireworks and the excitement in the family, comes fear, terror, anxiety for our pets at home. And if left untreated, this can be an extremely traumatic event for our pets. Noise phobia, or noise aversion, is an intense state of fear and panic where our pets develop aversive behaviors. They run, they hide, they try to escape. In some cases, they can become destructive, destroying furniture and toys and other objects in the home. Some pets will eliminate inappropriately. They'll urinate and defecate in the home where they normally wouldn't do that. They can be seen pacing. Excessive panting might be noticed, and in some cases the pets can become aggressive or they can stop eating altogether. If left untreated, this can become a significant problem for our pets and is an extremely traumatic experience. So there's a lot of different things that we can do to address this situation that happens every year. And most people will want to reach for sedatives. And it is true that sedatives do have their time and place in the treatment of noise phobias for our pets. It is best if these pharmacological agents are also used in combination with conditioning and environmental things that we can do to try and reduce that anxiety that our pets are going to be experiencing on this upcoming holiday. Ideally, in a perfect world, the best option is to remove your pet from the stimulus completely, which unfortunately for most of us that have friends and family that we want to celebrate with, going off to a remote area where we don't have to worry about fireworks just isn't an option. If that is an option, excellent. I strongly recommend that. Sometimes people have friends or family members that do live in more remote areas or cities where fireworks aren't permitted, where they can actually send their pets for the weekend just so that they have a nice quiet area and a quiet place to retreat to. It is important that if you do this, it's best to send them to stay with somebody that they know and are familiar with so that they're comfortable in their surroundings. A lot of people are going to reach for sedatives in this situation, and it is true that sedatives do have their time and place in treating noise phobias in animals, especially situational noise phobias. And this is for patients and pets at home that normally don't have anxiety, they don't have symptoms of fear. This is just a rare incidence once a year where they're extra reactive to sounds and noises. In those cases, sedatives certainly can help, but it's best if those sedatives are used in combination with certain environmental things that we can do at home to reduce their anxiety. So the second best option is to create a safe zone and try and minimize the stimulus as much as possible. So this would mean having your pet indoors, especially while there's fireworks going off, and ideally they would be in an interior room. The doors and windows of the exterior of the home would be closed just to minimize any noise that would come in. And it can also be beneficial to try and drown out the outside noises with some music. Now, playing music can definitely help. Just be cautious as to what music you're selecting. You don't want to select anything with heavy bass or extremely loud beats to it. You want to ideally look for something that's soothing, classical, new age kind of stuff. There's a couple of different websites out there that do actually provide musical tracks that are designed to diminish noise phobia in pets. The verdict is out on whether these are any more effective or not than other types of music, but it's definitely something that you can look into. So we've got them, inside the home. They're safe. You want to try and keep them as comfortable as possible. So build them a little cave or a little nest. If you have a smaller dog, you can create a safe zone with some of their favorite toys, some nice soft blankets, and keep them in an area where they can't injure themselves and where they're going to feel secure. Cats, they love to hide when they're not scared, and when they are scared, they love to hide even more. So taking an empty cardboard box, filling it with, cutting a hole in it and filling it with some of their blankets so that they have a place to run and hide and feel safe and secure. Another thing that you can do is you can try and preoccupy them by playing some of their favorite indoor games. That can oftentimes, help take their mind off of what's going on outside. You can feed them their evening meals in puzzle feeders or treat balls and kind of spread it out over the evening and make a game out of it where they have to, think and go through an activity to be able to get their food. Food is a big reward for most pets, as most animals are quite food motivated. Cats, not so much all the time. You can also stay with them. Now, I know that's kind of a bummer for you guys because you're missing out on the fun of the holiday, but simply having their owner with them can be a huge source of comfort to your animal. You can also try putting them in what's called a thunder shirt, and a thunder shirt is available at most pet retailers, and it's a elastic based material that it's a shirt that slips on over the animal, and it's got a band that wraps around their back and underneath their stomachs and kind of velcros onto the chest. What this does is it almost simulates the feeling of the animal getting a gentle hug. And I know that sounds kind of corny, but when animals feel that they're kind of bundled up and held tightly, they tend to calm down. And we use this technique to our advantage a lot of times here in the clinic, especially when we're working with nervous cats. Now, to my knowledge, there isn't a thunder shirt available out there for cats, but the same principle can work with towels, and cats usually do just fine by allowing them a nice quiet place to hide. One thing that's important to remember is if you're applying a thunder shirt or a compression garment to your pet, it's important to not leave them unattended. You want to keep a close watch on them. You want to make sure that it's applied properly, following the packaging instructions from the manufacturer, just to make sure you're not causing any injury to your pet. There's also a lot of non-pharmaceutical agents that can be dispensed either through your veterinarian. Some holistic pet food retailers can carry these products, and they're basically supplemental herbal supplements that have been shown to reduce anxiety in pets. A couple of those options would be Soliquin. Soliquin is based with L-theanine, which is an amino acid that has been shown to have a calming effect on animals. There's also adaptol diffusers and feel-away diffusers for our feline patients. And these basically plug into the wall and they emit an odor that's not detectable by humans for the most part, but it's a very close makeup of the pet's natural endorphins, so they're natural feel-good chemicals, and it can calm and soothe them. The feel-away also comes in a spray, so you can spray their bedding with it. The adaptol comes in a collar, so that you can put this collar on your dog and they have it with them where they're getting those pheromones all the time. There's also a product called Zilkine, and Zilkine is a milk protein that has been shown to provide comfort and calmness in animals. And there's also a product, I don't have an example of it here, but it's called Inxitane. And Inxitane is also L-theanine, that amino acid that can produce that calmness. Now, those types of options, they can certainly help. And they may not cut out that noise phobia completely 100%, but they are extremely, extremely safe options that can be given in conjunction with medications that are prescribed by your veterinary team. And then oftentimes we're able to prescribe lower dosages or prescribe the medication to be given less frequently than if we were just going to be using pharmacological agents alone. So that's kind of the goal here, is we want to use the least amount of drugs that we're putting into our pets as possible for the most valuable response. Now, as another step for more significant cases of noise phobia, we can move on to medications that are prescription-based. Now, these medications do require a prescription from your veterinarian, and in most cases, they require that you've had a recent examination by your veterinarian to ensure that your pet is healthy enough to receive these medications. And since each one does come with its own unique side effects, it's really important for the veterinarian to look at your pet's overall health so that they can determine the proper medication for you. There is a medication out there that in past days was widely prescribed for noise phobia and any type of fear, and that medication is acepromazine. Now, acepromazine does have a profound sedative effect, so from our perspective, our pets are sedated. There have been studies that have shown, however, that the acepromazine does not address the fear that our pets are experiencing. All it does is sedates them and tranquilizes them so that they can't do anything about it. And this can be an extremely traumatic experience for your animal. If you can imagine being completely paralyzed, not being able to run, not being able to talk and explain to somebody that you're feeling scared, and you have all of that fear contained within you, but you just can't move or do anything about it, it's a pretty scary thing to think about. So if your veterinarian is recommending acepromazine, I strongly urge you to become part of the conversation and ask them why acepromazine is being prescribed. Bring up the fact that there have been conversations that acepromazine does not address the fear that's causing the anxiety, it's just sedating the pet so they can't respond to it. Another thing that I often hear clients will do is they'll give over-the-counter Benadryl. And Benadryl kind of it's a different medication than acepromazine, but it's basically doing the same thing. It's causing that drowsiness and that sedated feeling, but it's not addressing the underlying anxiety that's causing them to react in the first place. So I would strongly advise against using either one of these two medications. Another thing that I often see is clients will use medications that they've had or they've been prescribed or have been prescribed to a friend or family member's pet. And again, this is extremely risky and highly recommended against. A lot of these medications, like I said earlier, do come with specific side effects, and in certain disease processes or medical conditions, this can be extremely harmful to your pet. So it's best to get these medications directly prescribed for your vet in the proper dosage from your veterinarian. Some of the prescribed medications that we use often for fears, anxiety, noise phobia, and 4th of July, our number one go-to is trazodone. And trazodone has a pretty decent sedating effect, and it also works as an anxiolytic, so it's reducing the amount of fear and anxiety that your pet is able to process. So it lowers that threshold for anxiety while also providing that sedating factor. It's a relatively safe drug, and it does have a pretty wide dosing range and can be given multiple times throughout the course of the day. And in fact, my dog is on trazodone on a daily basis for his anxiety, and I've had extremely good results with it. So that may be one option that your veterinarian might be able to prescribe for you. Another option would be alprazolam, or more commonly known as Xanax. In some cases, this medication is prescribed for feline patients or dogs. The dosages are significantly more than what we would take as humans. So again, this medication needs to be prescribed by your veterinarian, and you need to understand the risks that come by giving this medication to your pet. Another option would be gabapentin, and gabapentin is a phenomenal medication that causes significant sedation and reduction in anxiety in feline patients. Again, very similar to the trazodone, it has a very safe dosing range and can be given multiple times, and in some cases does have a little bit of a cumulative effect. So if you're going away for a long holiday, you may want to talk to your doctor about how to reduce the dosage accordingly. If you guys do have pets that enjoy the 4th of July and don't have concerns with noise phobia, that's fantastic, because then your furry companion can share in the fun with you and your family. But there's a couple of things that you're going to want to make sure that you're doing for them to keep them safe this 4th of July season. It's really important to make sure that they are wearing a properly fitting collar. The collar needs to be tight, but not too tight. You should be able to comfortably get 2 fingers underneath the collar comfortably. And it's really important to make sure that they have a proper identification tag with their name and a contact phone number. And I always recommend that all pets have a implantable microchip placed, and that the contact information for your pet's microchip is always kept up to date. Unfortunately, during the 4th of July holiday, this is the time of the year when most shelters and animal control centers receive the biggest influx of incoming patients or incoming pets, because the noise phobia causes them to run. It triggers that fight or flight response. And I've seen animals jump through screened windows. I've seen them try to chew their way out of closed doors. I've seen them destroy cages. They will do anything to try and run from the fear that they're experiencing from these sounds. So it's really important to make sure that your home is secure, your pet is secure if they're outside of the home, and they have all of their proper identification materials on them. So if they do get out, you're going to be able to recover them a little bit more efficiently. Of course, make sure that you're keeping them away from any fire hazards, with the fireworks that are going on. Burns are always a thing that you will commonly see at the emergency and after hours clinics. And we also want to be cautious with human food. Our dogs are real quick to pick up scraps that get dropped on the ground. There's a lot of foods that are toxic to animals and can cause potential issues. There's also larger items such as watermelon rinds, corn cobs that can and will be ingested by your pets if given the opportunity, which can get lodged in the intestines, they can get lodged in the esophagus, requiring emergency surgery. Over the course of the years, I've seen some pretty interesting stories and interesting cases from things that have happened on the 4th of July. So if you take some of this advice and go ahead and take a little bit from each category, environmental, supplemental, pharmaceutical, you can come out with the best option for your pet to keep them comfortable, calm, and safe. Most importantly, we want you guys to have a safe and happy 4th of July. And if you have any questions about medications that can be used to keep your pet more comfortable, we definitely urge you to get in contact with your veterinarian as soon as possible to give them a chance to get the pet in there if needed for an examination, get the medications dispensed, and in most cases recommend a trial run so that you know how your pet's going to respond to the medication before the actual holiday. As always, we look forward to seeing you guys again. If you have any questions, feel free to email us at ask_us@pearlanimalhospital.com. We'll see you guys soon.